Van Nutrition is going to help you guys make some really good choices when you're going grocery shopping. But it's tricky at times because there's a lot of imitation products that are floating around with the good stuff. So we want to go over this with you to make sure that you guys understand what to stay away from and why. So we wrote an in-depth article that's going to be sent to all of our subscribers, but we just want to summarize this for you guys to make it, easier to digest. So the first thing, you want to stay away from genetically modified foods. Excuse me for looking at my computer. I just want to go over the summary with you guys. So GMO, genetically modified organism. So that's created when food scientists mix the genes of a certain plant or animal with the genetics of another organism. So they basically alter the DNA, and that altered DNA would never occur from nature itself, right? That alone compromises the nutrition, right? Because it's a bootleg form or a derivative of what occurs in nature. So they're only an imitation. They don't produce the same nutrition. GMOs are made to produce profit and yield, right? So it's just all for business. Has nothing to do with your health. How do you spot a GMO? Veggies and fruits that don't have seeds, that's a dead giveaway. How are they selling grapes and watermelons that are seedless? That doesn't even make sense. If something is natural, it's always going to produce a seed because that's how you reproduce yourself, right? If you don't have a seed, you're barren. And they're creating a whole bunch of barren products, meaning, they're dead. So you want to always buy seeded when you can. Second, unnaturally large fruits or veggies. Sometimes they're just blowing these products out of proportion to increase yield. So you want to stay away from that too. There's also some really well-known GMO crops. 9 out of 10 times they're going to be GMO, such as corn, soy. That's number one. Most sugars, canola oil, dairy. Dairy is a killer, silent killer. So there's a GMO growth hormone that's called RGHB that's being injected into cows to increase their milk production at an unnatural pace. So not only are you drinking from another species, right, but you're also drinking the cow hormones that they put into it. So it's a double whammy that we really have to stay away from. You also want to stay away from ingredients that are derived from those crops. So you gotta be on it. You gotta, especially in this day and age and this time that we're going through, we gotta get healthy. You just can't take everything at face value. You gotta dig into it and read your ingredients. All you have to do is flip your product and read. So you want to stay away from cornmeal, corn flour, fructose, corn syrup, killer, sorbitol, food starch, dextrin, soy, tofu, teriyaki marinades, soy lecithin, margarine, terrible, processed veggie burgers, processed vegan food, and infant formula. Geez, they're really, it's bad. Blah, blah, blah. You also want to stay away from all these crazy names. Whey, xanthan gum, glutamate, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, lactic acid, cellulose, citric acid, maltodextrin, and mono or diglycerides. You also want to look for labels that say 100% organic. Foods that simply say organic can still, by law, have up to 30% of GMO ingredients in them. Second, processed foods, gotta go. A lot of the things I named above are also processed as well. But what is a processed food? A food that has been modified in a way to preserve it so it can last on grocery shelves for a very long time. All you have to do is pick up, like most soups or sauces in the grocery store, and you'll read the expiration date for 2 to 3 years from now. That is crazy. So you have to ask yourself, what are they doing to these products that they don't go rotten for years and years? That's a processed food. So number one giveaway, So many ingredients, a big ingredient list. Second giveaway, you can't pronounce the names. Half the names are just crazy chemistry lab names. You want to think convenience, right? Processed foods are extremely convenient. Think frozen pizzas, think hot dogs, think cold cuts, think Lunchables, Capri Sun. Sadly, all these things that like kids grow up on. Yeah, stay away from, cheese like Kraft Singles, bacon, hot dogs, cold cuts. Last thing, artificial flavors. Now, this is basically a concoction of chemicals that preserve the flavor, color, or texture in a given product. Artificial ingredients are much cheaper to produce instead of, extracting the flavor from the real whole food ingredient. And a bunch of toxic chemicals are just, consolidated under this vague term like natural flavors, artificial flavors, so it doesn't sound as bad as it is. For example, Snapple. Research what is in the artificial raspberry flavor. It's messed up. Last thing, hybrid foods. Hybrid foods, they're artificially made by forcing two very diverse parents to breed. So these foods do not produce seeds to reproduce itself. So it's like a malfunction that they create and sell to us. And we're just, very blind to all this. So these foods have an incomplete molecular structure. So when you start, changing the chemistry of a given product, you totally disrupt the nutrients in it, right? You disrupt the structure. So your body doesn't recognize it. So we have to stay away from hybrid foods as well. So to summarize, try to decrease GMOs, processed foods, artificial foods, hybrid foods. That's going to leave you with the real deal. Stick with things that grow from the earth, fruits and veggies, but you got to make sure that they're seeded. Nuts, legumes, quinoa, the wild rice, not these bleached bootleg white rices. That is it. I hope you guys like the tips. I hope you implement them because I promise you that alone will help you boost your immune system.